Russia has just concluded its biggest military exercise in years, and it's clear who the intended audience was. The name of the war games was Zapad, the Russian word for West. After Putin's annexation of Crimea 3 years ago, and his continued meddling in the Ukrainian civil war, trust between Russia and its neighbors in the NATO alliance was already in extremely short supply. Isabel Young reports.
They're really pulling out all the stops to show us that Russia's military might is more than capable of taking out any... Whoa! They're showing how their ground troops work alongside their air force here to destroy terrorist camps. You can also spot Putin just up here looking on rather approvingly.
This is the army that Vladimir Putin has been busy modernizing following decades of decay after the fall of the Soviet Union. This week, he's been showing it off to the world.
Вы сегодня могли воочию убедиться, что войска, которые принимают участие в учениях, имеют высокий уровень подготовки, крайне сложные погодные условия, но все задачи, которые были поставлены перед подразделениями, были выполнены.
But besides the shoddy weather, there's not a lot that Russia and NATO allies are agreeing on when it comes to Zapad. Western military analysts say the number of troops participating could be as high as 100,000. Russia's own Ministry of Defense claims that it's fewer than 13,000. They also say that these exercises are simply defensive training. Many of their neighbours find them far more menacing. A top NATO official has suggested that this could be a serious preparation for a big war. Although more than 100 journalists have been invited on this press tour, the Russian military weren't overly receptive to the idea of us freely covering the event.
We're at the most regulated Russian press tour that I've ever been on. The message is being so tightly controlled that we have to direct our cameras this way, direct our cameras that way.
International observers showed up at Zapad, trying to figure out what Russia is really up to.
A lot of Russians that we've spoken to are saying that these war games are just a reaction to aggression from NATO states around Europe. Do you think that that's a fair analysis?
Oh yeah, NATO, after the Ukraine, NATO has to take some measures to protect member states.
Several NATO nations made a conspicuous display of their own military muscle in the weeks before Zapad started. These annual exercises, called Sabre Guardian, involve 25,000 service members, both from the US and Europe.
NATO has never behaved aggressively.
So you think it's Russia that's behaving aggressively?
Yeah, I think so.
This mock warfare is ultimately orchestrated from the Kremlin. Franz Klintsevich is a senior member of the ruling United Russia Party and sits on a key government defense and security committee.
So you completely fail to understand why any of these countries would feel threatened or concerned about these military exercises taking place on their back doorstep.
Сегодня русофобская политика, вот этот тренд дискредитации России, показания ее агрессивной сущности, это та валюта, на которых вот эти страны, Прибалтика, бывшая Литва, Эстония, Латвия, Польша, там другие страны бывшего нашего Варшавского договора, зарабатывают дивиденды перед американцами.
It seems like the message you're trying to portray here is that Russia is the great defender against terrorism in the world, which, quite frankly, a lot of people would find laughable.
Вам спасибо за этот вопрос. Реально, это было очень большое спасибо. Я хотел бы сказать, люди, помните, Россия великая, очень добрая и большая по размеру страна. Люди живут здесь, в России, которые значительно лучше, чем я. Приезжайте к нам в гости, участвуйте в туристических поездках. Вы увидите, что с Россией надо дружить. Россия не нуждается ни в какой другой территории, ни в нефти, ни в газе, ни в чем. Мы хотим со всеми дружить. А если с Россией будут воевать, то, к сожалению, должен огорчить. Ну вот просто огорчить. Ракеты вы наши не перехватите, самолеты мы ваши собьем, ракеты ваши перехватим, и закончится это очень печально для всех.